Chapter 1. The Pharmacy. The 24-hour pharmacy on Bleecker Street had exactly one other customer at 2 in the morning, and he was standing in the vitamin aisle, holding a bottle of iron supplements, with the expression of a man reading a ransom note. Adelaide Marsh noticed him because he was the kind of beautiful that didn't belong under fluorescent lights. Tall, dark-haired, very still. The kind of still where the air around him felt like it was holding its breath. "You look like you're having a crisis," she said. He looked up. His eyes were a shade of gray that wasn't quite gray, something cooler, like riverstone in winter. "I am attempting to understand why this bottle claims to contain the building blocks of life, when it smells like chalk and regret. It's iron. It's supposed to taste bad. That's how you know it's working." That is a profoundly human way of thinking. As opposed to what? He looked at her. Something shifted behind his eyes, not alarm, not recognition. Something older than both. He inhaled once, deliberately, and something in his expression tightened for half a second before he smoothed it over. Underneath the warmth, a faintness. Something chemical, medicinal, masking whatever was below it. "You seem like someone who is making the most of her evening," he said. She looked down at her basket. SPF 50, gummy bears, a bottle of dexamethasone she'd pick up at the counter, a cheap notebook with a list inside it she'd written 3 weeks ago in a hospital parking lot after a doctor told her she had 6 months, maybe 8. 57 items. She'd done 11. "I'm on a career break," she said, "taking some time to do things I never got around to. I have a list." A list. A very long list. 57 items. I'm on 12. He set the iron supplements down carefully, as though returning an artifact to a display case. "What kind of list?" "The fun kind. The kind you make when you finally stop being sensible." She pulled the notebook out and flipped it open. Item 12. Buy sunscreen for a day trip I haven't planned yet. Item 13. Kiss a stranger. She looked at him. He looked at her. "That is the order?" he said. "Sunscreen, then kissing?" "Life doesn't always go in order." "I have found that it rarely does." The fluorescent light buzzed. A moth hit the window. He hadn't blinked since she started talking, and she noticed that the way you notice something you can't name yet, a wrongness so slight it was almost a texture. "Would you like to do them out of order?" she asked. "I beg your pardon?" Item 13. Kiss a stranger. You're a stranger. I'm on a schedule. His face did something she would think about later. It went through surprise, then bewilderment, then something that looked like the beginning of a very old ache. All in the space of a breath he didn't seem to take. "You are asking me to kiss you," he said, "in a pharmacy. Unless you're busy with the iron supplements." "I am not busy with the iron supplements." "Then?" He stepped closer. His hand came up, slowly, carefully, the way someone moves when they're aware of how much damage they could do, and touched the side of her face. His fingers were cold, not room temperature cold, cold like stone in December. She kissed him. It was brief and strange, and his lips were cool, and she felt his whole body go rigid for a fraction of a second, like a bowstring pulled taut, and then he kissed her back, with a gentleness that did not match the tension in his frame. When she pulled away, he was looking at her like she'd said something in a language he'd forgotten he knew. "Thank you," she said. That was item 13. "You're welcome, I think." She bought her sunscreen. She walked out. She didn't look back, because looking back wasn't on the list. He stood in the vitamin aisle for 7 minutes after she left. A shelf stalker asked if he needed help. "I do not need help," he said. "I need to understand what just happened." "Looked like someone kissed you, man." "Yes, in a pharmacy, without preamble. She had gummy bears in her basket and a list of 57 things she intends to accomplish on a career break." "Nice." It was, yes. It was nice. He looked at the door she'd walked through. She smelled like warmth. And something chemical. Steroids, I think, masking something underneath. Perfume? Not perfume. The steroids are medical, corticosteroids. They change everything about the body's scent, metabolism, cortisol, blood sugar. Whatever is underneath, the medication is burying it. So she's on meds. Many humans are on medication. It is not unusual. Then why do you look like that? Like what? Like something's bothering you that you can't figure out. Because something is bothering me that I cannot figure out. And I do not like things I cannot figure out. He bought the gummy bears, same brand, same flavor. He did not eat. He had no use for gummy bears. He bought them because she bought them. He also bought the iron supplements, which he also had no use for, and a packet of tissues, which he definitely had no use for, because the cashier looked like she expected him to buy a third thing and he panicked. 512 years old, panicked by a cashier's expectations. His phone buzzed, a message from Conrad. Your Majesty, the Northern Coven has filed a territorial grievance. They are requesting formal mediation. Please advise at your earliest convenience. Which was 3 months ago. He looked at the gummy bears. He looked at the street where she'd disappeared. Handle it. Conrad's reply was immediate. I have been handling it. I have been handling everything. For 4 months. While you take what you are calling a sabbatical and what the council is calling a dereliction. I am not derelicting. I am conducting research. Into what, precisely? Human confectionery. The 3 dots appeared and disappeared 4 times. I am going to pretend I did not read that. Chapter 2. The List. He found her 3 days later at a harbor where people rented kayaks. She was arguing with the rental clerk about life jackets. I don't need the extended waiver, I can swim. Everyone says that before the hypothermia. I promise you, I am not going to die of hypothermia today. Marcus was standing 12 feet away in the queue, perfectly still while everyone around him shifted and checked their phones. You're following me, she said without turning around. I would not describe it as following. What would you describe it as? A coincidence that I have engineered deliberately. She turned. The sunlight hit her face, and he flinched, tightening around the eyes, a half step toward shadow. Are you okay? I am fine. The light is merely assertive. Assertive. It is a personal matter between myself and the sun. We have a long-standing disagreement. That's a weird thing to say. I am a somewhat weird person. You're something. She studied him, the too still posture, the river stone eyes, the hands that didn't fidget, the chest that didn't move. Are you going to tell me why you tracked me down? I found myself unable to stop thinking about your list. Specifically, the logistical deficiencies. The logistical deficiencies. Severe ones, I counted 7. You counted the deficiencies in my bucket list? I prefer to call it a structural assessment. Item 17, learn to surf. You've written, rent a board and figure it out. This is not a plan. This is a suggestion made by someone who has never been pulled out to sea by a riptide. Have you been pulled out to sea by a riptide? In 1782. Off the coast of Portugal, it was unpleasant. She stared at him. In 1782. I misspoke. I meant a very long time ago. I am a strong swimmer. You said 1782. I did say 1782, yes. I should not have said 1782. Are you, like, a history professor? I am not a history professor. Because you talk like someone who's been alive for way too long. He was quiet, looking at her in the sunlight with an expression she couldn't read. How about this, she said. You help me with the list. I let you fix the logistical deficiencies. And when I'm done, we go our separate ways. I would like that very much. You don't even know what's on the list. I know item 13 was kiss a stranger, and you executed it with remarkable efficiency. I am prepared to be impressed by the remaining 44. Over the next 2 weeks, he learned her through the list. You were an archivist, he said, on the morning she brought him to a flea market to look at old maps. Museum archivist, 4 years. 11,000 objects cataloged. 11,000. I like describing things, what they are, what they might have been. There's a ceramic bowl from 1890 in the collection, just a bowl with a chip on the rim, and I spent 20 minutes writing about who might have held it. That is not a career. That is devotion. That's what my sister says, except she says it like it's a problem. She ate gummy bears for breakfast. He asked about this. Gummy bears are not breakfast. They are if you consider joy a nutrient. Joy is not a nutrient. Joy is absolutely a nutrient. It's in the red ones. He also noticed the faint smell underneath the warmth, still there, still masked by the steroids she took every morning with her coffee. He'd watched her swallow 2 pills on the second day and asked. Vitamins, she'd said. Those are not vitamins. They're prescription vitamins. Prescription vitamins are not a thing. They are if your doctor is creative. He let it go. The medication changed her scent enough that whatever was underneath stayed buried. He filed it as a chronic condition, manageable, private, hers to share when she was ready. He did not investigate. She said career break. He believed her. You're staring at me again, she said on the 3rd day. I am not staring. I am observing. What are you observing? You move like someone who has somewhere to be, even when you don't. Maybe I always have somewhere to be. He had no reason not to believe her. Item 34. Learn to ride a bicycle. You cannot ride a bicycle, he said. I grew up in an apartment, no yard. This is, Adelaide, this is a fundamental skill. It's recreational. There are 17 intersections between your apartment and Central Park. 7 have no dedicated cycling infrastructure. 1 has a pothole I find personally offensive. You've already scouted the route. I conducted a preliminary survey. Between midnight and 4, traffic conditions were optimal. Because there was no traffic. That is when conditions are optimal, yes. He presented her with a spreadsheet, color-coded by risk level. She stared at it. Did you make this in Excel? I have recently discovered Excel. It is the first piece of modern technology I respect. You made a 17-intersection risk assessment for a bicycle ride. I also placed a warning cone on the 7th Avenue pothole. And I am composing a letter to the city. She got on the bicycle. She wobbled. He walked beside her with his hands behind his back and his face arranged in studied calm. You're about to say something, she said. I am not. Your jaw is doing a thing. I do not have a thing. You're doing 5 centuries of diplomatic restraint right now. He blinked. What did you say? I meant, you look like you're really holding back. She pushed off, wobbled, the handlebars overcorrected. He caught the frame before she'd finished tilting, 1 hand, no effort, faster than human, and they were very close. You caught me, she said. I caught the bicycle. You happened to be on it. That was very fast. I have good reflexes. Nobody has reflexes that fast. She was looking at his hand on the frame. No tremor, no effort. And your hand is freezing. It's June. I run cold. Marcus. Yes? What are you? He told her on a bench in Central Park at 4 in the afternoon because she wouldn't let him deflect any longer. I am a vampire, he said. She was quiet for a long time. A vampire. Yes. Like fangs, blood, the whole thing. The whole thing. How old? 512. Years. I am not counting in decades. And you were buying iron supplements. I was curious. They claim to contain middle. The building blocks of life, you said. She pressed her hands against her thighs. He could hear her heartbeat accelerate, 70, 80, 90. Are you dangerous? Yes. Are you going to hurt me? I would sooner walk into the sun. That would kill you? Quite thoroughly. The sunlight thing, the cold hands, the not blinking, the catching the bicycle like it weighed nothing. She was cataloging, archivist brain, filing the evidence. You don't breathe. Not unless I choose to. You're doing it now, because you are watching and it seemed polite. She almost laughed, caught it, let it out anyway, a weird, shaky, honest sound. I should be terrified. You should be. I'm not. I think something's wrong with me. There are many things wrong with humans. An inability to be appropriately terrified is among the more charming ones. Do you drink blood? Yes. Human blood? Preferably. Have you wanted to drink mine? Since the pharmacy. And you didn't. I did not. Why? Because you were holding gummy bears and talking about a list, and you were the most alive person I had encountered in 200 years. It seemed counterproductive. That's oddly sweet for a blood-drinking confession. I am an oddly sweet blood-drinking individual. Can you eat food? I can put food in my mouth. It accomplishes nothing. I have been performing the act of drinking coffee in your presence for 2 weeks. It tastes like warm regret. You've been pretending to drink coffee? I was maintaining the appearance of normalcy. You held a potato peeler like a weapon and wrote a letter to the city about a pothole. There was no normalcy to maintain. That is a fair point. Do you sleep? I do not. Ever? I have not slept since 1514. What do you do at night? I stand very still in rooms and think about things. Occasionally, I reorganize furniture. Last week, I alphabetized your bookshelf while you were sleeping. You what? By author surname. You had Austen after Dickens. It was untenable. Marcus. Yes. You broke into my apartment while I was sleeping and alphabetized my bookshelf. I did not break in. You gave me a standing invitation. I merely exercised it quietly. That is the most vampire thing you have ever said. Thank you, I think. Marcus. Yes. You're a vampire. You're 500 years old. You've been helping me with my career break list. Career break list. And you didn't tell me. I was afraid you would stop letting me help. Why does helping me matter that much? Because you kissed me in a pharmacy, and I have not been able to think about anything else since. And because you are doing something I have never seen in 500 years, living on purpose, not surviving, not enduring, choosing what to do with every hour. I have had 5 centuries, and I have wasted most of them on politics and sitting very still in rooms where nothing happens. You're saying I'm the most interesting thing that's happened to you in 500 years? I am saying you are the only thing that has happened to me in 500 years. She was quiet. Then she took his hand, cold against warm. She didn't flinch. Okay, she said. Okay? Okay. You're a vampire. I'm on a career break. Let's do item 31.
What is item 31?
Eat breakfast on a rooftop.
I know a rooftop. Conrad's text that evening. The Eastern Bloc has filed a complaint. Water rights. Underground reservoir beneath Central Park. I have told them you are indisposed. Tell them I am conducting a long-term strategic assessment of human infrastructure. Your Majesty, you are helping a woman learn to ride a bicycle. How do you know that? Because I have known you for 200 years, and I can hear you making a poor decision from 3,000 miles away. It is not a poor decision. She is remarkable. They are always remarkable. That is the problem. He took her dancing, a proper ballroom, because he could not conceive of learning to dance without adequate floor space. This is a ballroom, she said. Yes. I was going to watch a TikTok and shuffle around my kitchen. That is not dancing. It is a form of organized falling. He put one cold hand on her waist and one in hers, and led her through a waltz he'd learned in 1761. She stepped on his feet 11 times. "You're counting my steps wrong," she said. "I am not. You are inventing steps." "I'm improvising." "You are improvising in the wrong time signature. This is 3/4 time. You appear to be in 5/7. I am impressed and concerned." She laughed, and her heartbeat was in his ears, quick and warm and alive, and her hand was warm in his, and she was here. He turned her. She stumbled. He caught her, fast, his hand at the small of her back before she'd finished losing her balance. They were very close. "Item 29, she said quietly. "What is item 29? "Dance with someone who makes you forget you're counting." "Counting what?" "Nothing," she said. "Never mind." He didn't kiss her. He wanted to. 500 years of composure, and he wanted to close the distance between his mouth and hers more than he had wanted anything since the century he was born in. But she had kissed him first, in the pharmacy. She got to decide when it happened again. She was looking at his mouth. He could hear her heartbeat, 92, 95, and feel the warmth of her breath against his chin, and his hand was still at the small of her back, and neither of them was moving. "You're doing the statue thing," she said quietly. "I am exercising restraint." "Is it working?" "Barely." She stepped back, not because she wanted to, because she wasn't ready to want to yet. He let her go. His hand stayed in the air for half a second before he brought it to his side. Afterward, sitting on the ballroom floor because she'd declared her feet dead, she leaned against his cold shoulder. "Why are you really doing this?" she said. "The rooftop, the ballroom, the pothole letter." "Because you are the first person in 500 years who has made me want to do things instead of merely endure them." "That's a big thing to say." "I am a vampire. We specialize in big things," said quietly. Her sister called on a Thursday. "Who is he?" Sarah said. "A friend." "Adelaide, you've been posting pictures of ballrooms and kayaks and sunrise breakfasts with a man who looks like a Renaissance sculptor's greatest ambition. He is not a friend." "He's a friend helping me with my list." "The list you wrote instead of getting a second opinion." "I got 3 opinions. They all said the same thing." "There are trials. Experimental." "Sarah." "You could be trying." "I am trying. I am trying to live. That's what the list is." "The list is you running away." "The list is me running toward. There's a difference." "And this man, does he know?" Adelaide was quiet. "He doesn't know," Sarah said. "I don't want to be the dying girl." "You're not the dying girl. You're my sister who is dying and lying to the person who makes her happy. You have to tell him." "I know."
Not yet. Before he finds out some other way. He won't. And people find out, Adelaide. They always find out. Conrad's next message. I have received the credit card statement for the rooftop terrace, also the ballroom rental, also something called a bicycle safety assessment consultation. I created the service. I then purchased it from myself. You purchased a service from yourself? It seemed like the most efficient way to formalize the assessment. That is not how commerce works. It is how I have decided commerce works. I am attaching the court budget. Please note the line item I have added. King's increasingly expensive emotional crisis. I feel it is self-explanatory. Chapter 3. The Taste. He booked a rooftop terrace for sunrise because she wanted breakfast with a view, and he could not conceive of a view that did not involve real estate. "This is not a fire escape bagel," she said, looking at the wraparound garden 17 floors above the East River. "It is a rooftop. We are eating breakfast. The criteria are met." "There are cloth napkins. Is that a carafe?" "It is orange juice. I do not drink orange juice. I do not drink anything that is not blood. I ordered it because you should have orange juice." You booked a sunrise breakfast and you can't be in the sunrise? I can be in it briefly. Your neck is turning pink. That will pass. Marcus, you're smoldering. I am experiencing mild photosensitivity. He moved another inch into shadow. The view is excellent from here. You booked a rooftop you can't sit on. I booked a rooftop you can sit on. The distinction is important. She ate her bagel in the sun. He sat in the shadow and watched her. The light caught her face and he thought, "This is the closest thing to worship I have experienced in 5 centuries." "Tell me something you've never told anyone," she said. "I am afraid of pigeons." "You're afraid of pigeons. They are aggressive, unpredictable. In 1847, a pigeon in Florence stole a cravat directly from my throat. I was wearing it at the time." "A pigeon stole your cravat?" "I do not wish to discuss it further." "Was it a big pigeon?" "All pigeons are big when they are stealing your cravat." "You are the most ridiculous 500-year-old vampire I have ever met." "I am the only 500-year-old vampire you have ever met. And already the most ridiculous." He discovered WebMD that night and texted Conrad at 3 a.m. This website claims that a headache is either tension or a brain aneurysm. There is no middle ground. How do humans function with this level of medical guidance? Why are you on WebMD? Research. Into what? Human fragility. It is more alarming than I anticipated. This website says the common cold could be meningitis. You cannot get meningitis. The website does not know that. He paused, then typed, "I have also discovered a health app. It asked for my resting heart rate. I do not have a resting heart rate. It will not let me proceed without one. Put 0. I tried. It recommended I call emergency services. It also asked for my date of birth. The drop-down goes back to 1924. Use 1924. It says I am 102 and should consult a geriatric specialist. Item 23. Cook a meal from scratch. I cannot cook, he said. You've been alive 500 years. I have never needed to eat. Today you learn. She handed him a potato peeler. Start with that. He held it like a surgical instrument. This device is unnecessarily hostile. It's a peeler. It has a blade designed to remove material in thin strips. In the 15th century, we had a name for instruments like this. Was it potato peeler? It was not. He peeled with the focused intensity of a man defusing a bomb. She watched him with her mouth doing the thing he was learning to recognize, the compressed line that meant she was trying not to laugh. You're holding it like it might attack you. I am holding it with appropriate respect. Marcus, it's a vegetable. All threats begin as something underestimated. He peeled the potato down to the size of a marble. That was a potato. You've turned it into a grape. It is still technically a potato. It is technically a war crime against root vegetables. She took the peeler from him. Their fingers touched, warm on cold. She held on 1 second longer than the task required. Your hands are always cold, she said. Always. Does it bother you? It hasn't bothered me in 400 years. Does it bother you now? He looked at her hand on his. Warm brown skin against pale. Now, he said, I notice it. The meal was a disaster. The potato is crunchy, she said. Is it not supposed to be crunchy? It is not supposed to be crunchy. The pasta has also formed an alliance. It is refusing to separate. That's because you didn't stir it. You did not tell me to stir it. Marcus, stirring is implied. Nothing should be implied in cooking. There should be briefings. She was laughing. Actually laughing. Head back, hand on the counter. The kind of laugh that used the whole body. Stop laughing, he said. I am being serious. You're always being serious. That's why it's funny. I am not funny. You are the funniest person I have ever met, and you have absolutely no idea. I am a vampire king. Vampire kings are not funny. You referred to the toaster as a heat-based interrogation device. You called the blender a containment vessel. You held a potato peeler like it owed you money. The potato peeler and I have reached an understanding. You turned the potato into a grape. I have acknowledged the grape. Can we move on from the grape? We can never move on from the grape. The grape is eternal. He was looking at her. She was leaning against the counter with her hair coming loose and her face flushed from laughing, and he thought, I have not felt like this since I was human. I have not wanted to stay in a room this badly since rooms were lit by candles and people died of ordinary, comprehensible things. You're staring, she said. I am observing. You're staring, you've gone still, the whole statue thing. I apologize, I was considering something. Considering what? That you are the loudest person I have been in a kitchen with in 500 years, and I do not want you to be quieter. She blinked. Then she turned back to the dishes, but her ears were pink, and her heartbeat had done something he would not mention. They were cleaning up when she cut her hand on the bread knife. Small cut, nothing. Blood welled in a thin line across her palm, and Marcus went still. Not frozen, still. The kind of still where everything he'd built to pass as human shut down. Marcus. Nothing. Marcus, you're doing the statue thing. I need a moment. It's a bread cut. You are bleeding, and I can... His jaw worked once. A ghost memory of a pulse flickered at his temple. I need a moment. She held her hand out, toward him. I trust you, she said. Adelaide. I trust you, and I'd like you to stop pretending this isn't part of what you are. He took her hand, brought it to his mouth, pressed his lips to the cut, not feeding, not taking. Just there, cold mouth against warm blood. He tasted her, everything about her. The gummy bears and the SPF 50 and the way she laughed when she was nervous. And underneath, past the steroids, past the chemical mask that had hidden it on the surface for 2 months, the wrongness. Like a note in the wrong key. Something burning inside her, slow and deliberate and final. Not stress, not exhaustion, not a career break. The blood did not lie the way skin did. The blood told him everything. He let go of her hand, stepped back. His eyes had changed, darker, the gray shifting to something deeper. And his face had gone very still in a way that was different from all the other stillnesses. Marcus? What is wrong with you? He said. Not a question, a demand. What? Your blood. There is something wrong. I can taste it. Her face went white. Not vampire white, the white of someone who has been caught. It's nothing. I've been tired. The career break? That is not exhaustion. That is not burnout. I have tasted illness, Adelaide. I have tasted plague and fever and consumption. I know what dying tastes like. His voice cracked on the word. What is wrong with you? She sat down, slowly, put the bread knife on the counter. Brain tumor, she said. Inoperable. 6 months, they said. That was 2 months ago. The silence in the kitchen was absolute. Not the comfortable silence of 2 people at ease, the silence of a room where someone has stopped breathing. And in this case, neither of them was breathing because he had forgotten to perform it and she was holding hers. 6 months, he said. Give or take. There is no career break. No. The list. It's a bucket list. It's always been a bucket list. 57 things you want to do before you die? Before I run out of time. I didn't want, Marcus, I didn't want to be the dying girl. Everyone who knows looks at me like I'm already gone. My sister, my doctor, the barista who puts extra shots in my coffee like caffeine is a cure. I wanted to meet someone who didn't know, who looked at me like I was here, not leaving, here. You lied to me. I know. For 2 months. I know. I have been falling in love with you for 2 months, and you have been dying, and you did not tell me. She flinched, not at the anger, at the words. falling in love. You're falling in love with me? She said. I have fallen, past tense. It happened in the pharmacy. I have been building spreadsheets about it. Marcus, do not say you are sorry. Do not say you did it to protect me. I am 500 years old. I have survived wars and plagues and 7 political coups and a pigeon in Florence. I do not need protecting from the truth. I wasn't protecting you. I was protecting myself. From the look everyone gets. The "oh God, she's dying" look. You never had it. For 2 months, you never once looked at me like I was dying. Because I did not know you were dying. Exactly. And it was the happiest I've been since the diagnosis. Can you understand that? He stood at the counter, hands flat, still. But his eyes, dark and old, and looking at her like the ground had dropped out from under 500 years of composure. I understand, he said. I understand, and I am shattered. Those are not mutually exclusive. I know. I need to leave. I need to not be in this room for several hours. Okay. I am not leaving you. I am leaving the room. There is a difference. I know the difference. He walked out. The door closed quietly. That was worse than a slam. Conrad's text arrived at midnight. What happened? She is dying. The career break woman? She has a brain tumor. She has 4 months. A very long pause. I am sorry, Your Majesty. She lied to me. Yes, humans do that. It is one of their less endearing qualities, and also one of their most understandable ones. I tasted it in her blood, the wrongness. I should have known sooner. I should have. You are 500 years old. You do not know everything. This is, I believe, the lesson. What do I do? I think you know what you want to do. Is there anything else? Blood witches, healers, anything. I have made inquiries. A blood witch in the West Village can slow it, months, not years, and the cost would diminish your court standing for a decade. It is not a cure, it is a delay. And turning? The body is already compromised. The transformation needs a foundation to rebuild on. 50% odds, perhaps less. 50%, perhaps less. But it is the only option that ends with her alive. I want to turn her. I know. The odds are poor. Her body is already compromised. 50%, perhaps less. I know that too. Does she? She does not know I am considering it. Then perhaps start there. Chapter 4. The Question. He came back the next morning. She opened the door in a bathrobe with red eyes and a cup of tea that had gone cold. You came back, she said. I said I was leaving the room, not you. Most people who say that don't come back. I am not most people. I am a 500-year-old vampire who has been building bicycle spreadsheets. I am clearly not operating within normal parameters. She almost smiled. He saw it happen and then not happen, and it hurt more than the taste of her blood. Can I come in? He said. You have a standing invitation. I am aware. I am asking because it seems like the kind of morning where permissions matter. She stepped aside. He came in, sat at the kitchen table, hands flat, still. The composure back in place, but she could see the seams now, the places where 5 centuries of control had cracked overnight. I have a question, he said. I might not answer it. I know. I am asking anyway. He looked at her. Would you let me turn you? She set down the tea. Turn me. Into a vampire. The transformation. It rebuilds the body. The tumor, it would be destroyed. You would not be dying. I would not be alive. You would be alive, differently. No heartbeat, no sunrise, no taste, no warmth. She touched her own arm. This, the warm skin, the breathing, the way coffee tastes in the morning and the sun feels on my face, Marcus. The whole list was about this, about being alive, about living every second of it. The list is meaningless if you are dead. The list is the opposite of meaningless. The list is the most meaningful thing I have ever done. And you want me to give up everything that makes it matter? I want you to live. I am living. For the first time in my life, I am actually living. And you are asking me to trade that for what? Centuries of being cold? Centuries of sitting in shadow while the sun goes by? I sit in shadow every day. It has not killed me. It's not living. It is. It is what I have. And I would give every sunrise I have ever lost to have you beside me in the shadow. That's not fair. None of this is fair. You have 4 months. I have 5 centuries of watching people I love die. Which of us has the worse bargain? She was crying. Not the careful crying of someone managing their grief. Real crying. Messy. Her whole face. I don't want to be cold, she said. I don't want to stop breathing. I don't want to lose the taste of gummy bears and coffee and terrible pasta. I love being alive, Marcus. That's the whole point. That's always been the whole point. I know. Then how can you ask me to give it up? Because the alternative is losing you. And I have lost everyone. For 500 years. And I cannot. His voice broke. Not cracked. Broke. Like a structure that had held for centuries finally giving way. I cannot do it again. Not you. You've known me for 2 months. I have known you for 2 months, and you are the only person who has ever made me forget I was 500 years old. You made me buy gummy bears. You made me hold a potato peeler. You made me afraid of the time I have left, which is something I have not felt since I was human. 2 months. You did that in 2 months. She wiped her face, took a breath. I need to think, she said. Take whatever time you need. That's a cruel thing to say to someone with 4 months. I did not mean. I know you didn't. She wiped her face. Tell me about turning. Honestly, not the sales pitch. He sat back down, hands on the table. Precise. The transformation takes 2 to 3 days. It is, I will not lie, it is painful. Your body unmakes itself and remakes itself. And there are hours in the middle where you will wish it had not started. And after? Cold. Everything is cold. Your hands, your skin, the air itself feels different. Sunlight burns. Food becomes ash on the tongue. Your heart will beat once an hour or not at all. You will not sleep for decades. Every sound is louder, every smell is sharper. The world becomes very bright and very slow. What do you miss most? Warmth. The specific warmth of a summer afternoon. I remember it exactly. 1547. A field in Tuscany. The sun on the back of my neck. 500 years, and I remember the weight of it. And you want me to give that up? I want you to be alive to remember it. Marcus, the reason I made the list, the 57 items, every single one is about being alive, eating things, feeling things, sitting in the sun. You're asking me to trade the reason I'm doing the list for more time to do the list. Do you see the problem? I see it. I am asking you to do it anyway. That's honest. I have been told honesty is important, recently, by a woman who lied to me for 2 months. I deserved that. You did. I am sorry for saying it. Don't be. I'd rather you be angry than careful. She called Sarah. He asked me to turn. Turn into what? A vampire? Sarah was quiet for 4 full seconds. Adelaide counted. The man who doesn't eat and won't come inside without an invitation and flinches at sunlight. Your boyfriend the vampire wants to turn you into a vampire. You don't sound surprised. Adelaide, I told you weeks ago that something was off about him. I'm a nurse. I've been running diagnostics on him in my head since you posted that sunrise picture where he was sitting in full shade. I didn't land on vampire, but I had ruled out most of the normal options. He's not my... Yes, he wants to turn me. Would it cure the tumor? The transformation rebuilds the body, so yes. But I'd lose everything that makes me human. Warmth, sunshine, food, heartbeat. Would you be alive? Technically. Would you be with him? Yes. Would you be happy? I don't know. That's the problem. Adelaide, you're choosing between dying in 4 months and living forever without sunshine. That's not a hard choice. That's a terrifying choice that happens to have an obvious answer. It's not obvious. You love him. I love being alive. Those are not the same thing, and you know it. What if I hate it? What if I wake up cold and I can't taste anything, and I can't sit in the sun, and I hate every second of it? Then you'll hate it together, which is still better than being dead alone. When did you get so practical about this? I'm a pediatric nurse. I watch parents make impossible choices every day. The ones who regret are never the ones who chose to fight. They're the ones who didn't. This isn't the same. It's exactly the same. It's just weirder. Marcus called Conrad. She said no. To turning? She loves being alive. She loves sunshine and gummy bears and the taste of coffee. She said the list is about living, and I am asking her to give up the reason the list exists. She is not wrong. I know she is not wrong. That is the problem. What will you do? I do not know. I have planned for every contingency in 500 years. I have no plan for this. Perhaps that is the point. Perhaps the plan is that there is no plan. That is a terrible plan. Yes, it is also the only honest one. Conrad. Yes, Your Majesty. I am going to lose her. You might. I have lost, in 500 years. I have watched dozens of people I cared about die. Friends, allies, 2 women I loved, centuries apart. Each time I said, this is the last time. I will not do this again. And then I stood in a pharmacy at 2 a.m, and a woman kissed me. And I have done it again. I know. How do you do it? How do you watch it happen and keep going? I watch you keep going. That has always been sufficient motivation. That is unusually kind, Conrad. I am having an unusual evening. Please do not expect it to continue. He went back the next morning with gummy bears and no argument. They sat on the fire escape, her in the sun, him in the shadow. I'm not going to ask again, he said. I know. Whatever you decide, however long you have, I will be here. In the shadow. I am always in the shadow. I have made my peace with the shadow. She looked at him, sitting 6 feet away because the morning light would burn him, watching her with 500 years of patience and a bag of gummy bears he'd never eat. You sit in the shadow every day, she said. Every day. For 500 years. Yes. And you're still here. I am still here. She didn't say anything else. She ate a gummy bear and watched the sunrise, and he watched her watch the sunrise, and neither of them said the thing they were both thinking. Chapter 5. The Answer. She spent 3 days not calling him. She did the list, alone. Item 44. Watch the sunrise from somewhere you've never been. She took a train to the shore and sat on a bench and watched the sun come up over the Atlantic. The light was warm on her face. The air smelled like salt and something clean. This is what I'd lose, she thought. this exact warmth. Halfway through, her vision blurred. Just for a moment, 3, 4 seconds. The ocean smeared, the light went dark at the edges. She gripped the bench. Then it came back. She sat very still. The sunrise was in front of her, and she could not see it for 4 seconds. And in those 4 seconds, she understood something she had been refusing to understand. The sunrise was leaving either way. The gummy bears were leaving. The warmth, the coffee, the taste of rain, all of it was leaving. Not because of Marcus, because of the tumor. The tumor was going to take everything she loved about being alive, one piece at a time, whether she turned or not. She thought about Marcus sitting in the shadow, 6 feet away on the rooftop, smoldering, calling it the view. He had lost sunshine 500 years ago. He sat in shadow every single day, and he had never once complained about it. And when she asked him what he missed most, he said warmth. And he'd said it like he was describing a painting he'd loved, not a thing he was grieving. 500 years without the sun, and he was more alive now, with her, with the list, with the potato peeler and the gummy bears, than he had been in centuries. The shadow hadn't killed him. It had just been waiting for something worth sitting in it for. She was not choosing him over sunshine. She was choosing him over nothing. She called him. Adelaide? I need to ask you something. Ask. When you lost the sunshine, the warmth, the taste of things, all of it, was it worth it? Worth it for what? For being here, for 500 years, for the pharmacy and the gummy bears and the bicycle spreadsheet. Was it worth it? He was quiet, the quiet of a man being asked the most important question of his life and wanting to get the answer exactly right. I did not think so, he said. For a very long time. For centuries, I did not think it was worth it. The shadow was just the shadow. And then you kissed me in a pharmacy at 2 a.m, and I thought, yes, this is what the shadow was for. Okay. Okay? Turn me. The silence on the phone was absolute. Adelaide, I love sunshine. I love gummy bears. I love being warm and breathing and tasting coffee. But I watched the sunrise this morning, and my vision went dark for 4 seconds, and I realized the tumor is going to take the sunrise whether I turn or not. The only question is whether I lose everything, or whether I lose some things and keep you. Her voice cracked. I'm not choosing you over living. I'm choosing you over losing everything. You are certain. I'm terrified. That's not the same as uncertain. No, it isn't. Come to the shore. Bring the gummy bears. I want to eat them one more time while I can taste them. He came. He brought the gummy bears, the same bag from the pharmacy, unopened for 2 months. They sat on the fire escape, she in the sun, him in the shadow, one last time. She opened the bag and ate them slowly, tasting each one. Red is the best, she said. I will take your word for it. Green is fine. Yellow is a betrayal. I will note that, for the record. Orange is acceptable, but only after red is gone. Is there a formal hierarchy? There is. I have given it significant thought, more thought than most things in my life. I believe that. Marcus. Yes. I want you to try one. I cannot taste food. I know. Try one anyway. He took a red one, put it in his mouth, chewed, expressionless. Well, she said. It tastes like sugar and petroleum derivatives. That's what joy tastes like. Then joy is alarmingly chemical. You'll remember that. Red gummy bear, sugar and petroleum derivatives. I will remember everything about this afternoon. Good. She ate another one. Tell me what else I should do before tonight. What should I taste? What should I feel? The coffee. You love the coffee. I'll make a pot. The sun on your face. I'm doing that now. The bread. Even the bad bread we made. We are not speaking of the bread. We should speak of the bread, It was terrible. You should remember it. The bread was a war crime, and I will carry that memory into immortality with full trauma. He almost smiled. She pointed. There, I want that on the list. Made a vampire almost smile on the day I chose to become one. That counts. It counts. She leaned across the shadow line, kissed him, warm mouth on cold, the last warm kiss. She held it for a long time. I'm going to miss being warm, she said. I know. But I'm not going to miss being alone. You will never be alone again. Promise? I am a 500-year-old vampire king who has been building bicycle spreadsheets and writing letters to the city about potholes. I do not make promises I cannot keep. And I can keep this one. She took his hand, warm on cold. One last time with this particular temperature. One last time with her pulse against his silence. Do it tonight, she said, before I change my mind. You could change your mind. I would not. I know, I won't. I want to watch one more sunset first. Will you watch it with me? I will watch it from the shadow. You always watch from the shadow. And the view has always been you. He turned her that night, in her apartment, with the gummy bears on the counter and the list open on the table, and Conrad standing by. He'd taken the first flight from London when Marcus texted 2 words. She said yes, because someone needed to be the calm one. Is there anything I should know? She asked, lying on her bed, looking up at him. It will hurt. I will not be able to make it not hurt. I will be here for every moment of it. What did you say? When you were turned? I said a prayer. It did not help, but I found the structure comforting. I don't know any prayers. Then I will recite your catalog entries. I memorized several. You memorized my catalog entries? You taught me to pay attention. I have been paying attention. Marcus. Yes. If this doesn't work, it will work. If it doesn't, the list. Item 58. Stay. That one was always about you. I know. Okay, I'm ready. You are certain? I'm terrified and I'm certain, and those are not the same thing. No, they are not. 3 days. She was right. It was terrible. But he was there, every second. Cold hands holding hers, his voice in the dark when the pain was worst, reciting catalog entries, the ceramic bowl from 114 Bleecker Street, the unsent postcard addressed to M, the reading glasses left in a donated book, because she'd taught him to pay attention, and this was what paying attention sounded like. Conrad brought tea that neither of them could drink, and sat in the corner and did not complain about anything for 3 consecutive days, which was, by his own admission, a personal record. She woke on the 3rd morning. The light through the window was different, sharper, louder, almost unbearable. She pulled the blanket over her eyes. The sun is aggressive, she said. Welcome to my side of the room. She held up her hand, pale, cool, no pulse visible at the wrist. She pressed her fingers to her throat. Silence where her heartbeat used to be. That's strange, she said. It does not stop being strange. My hands are cold. Yes. Your hands are cold. Yes. She reached out, took his hand, cold against cold. For the first time, they were the same temperature. Oh, she said. Yes. I didn't expect that to feel like coming home. She sat up. The room was loud, electricity in the walls humming at a frequency she'd never noticed. A heartbeat 2 floors down beating steady, a dog breathing across the street, the creak of pipes she'd been hearing for years now, amplified into a symphony of infrastructure. I can hear the building, she said. You will hear everything for the first few months. It becomes manageable. I can hear the dog across the street. He's dreaming. His paws are twitching. How do you know his paws are twitching? I can hear the sheets moving. That is remarkably specific hearing for day 1. I was an archivist. I noticed details. Apparently that transferred. She looked at the gummy bears on the counter. "Don't try them," he said gently. "I know." She picked up the bag anyway, held it. Red was the best. "You told me, sugar and petroleum derivatives." "I want it on the record." "It is on the record, permanently." She looked at the list, still open, still her handwriting. She picked up a pen and gripped too hard. The pen snapped. "You will break things for the first year," he said. "I broke a harpsichord in 1514. A harpsichord? I did not know my own strength. The harpsichord paid the price. We do not speak of the harpsichord." "You have a lot of things you don't speak of." "Immortality generates an extensive catalog of unspeakable incidents. You will start your own." She took another pen, careful this time. Wrote in handwriting that was shakier than before, but still hers. Item 58. Start a new list. He read it over her shoulder. "What goes on the new list?" he said. "Everything. Everything I haven't done. Everything I'm going to have time for." She looked at him. Her eyes were different, the warm brown shifting at the edges to something cooler, something that would settle over the next century into whatever she was becoming. Item 1. Watch the sunset from the shadow side. I know a very good shadow. Item 2. Figure out the gummy bear situation. There must be a blood-flavored equivalent. There is not. Then we'll invent one. That is not how food science works. We have centuries. We'll figure it out. Item 3. She looked at his face. He was doing the thing he didn't know he was doing. Item 3. Make him do that thing with his face, every day, forever. What thing? That. He didn't know he was smiling. 512 years, and she was still the only person who told him. Conrad's text arrived. The council has been informed that the king's sabbatical companion has been turned. They are requesting an audience. Tell them we are busy. Busy doing what? Starting a new list. Conrad's reply. I am going to need a larger filing system. She laughed. It sounded different now. Still hers, but with an undertone she'd learned to recognize over the next 100 years. The sound of someone who had chosen and did not regret the choosing. He held her hand, cold on cold. No contrast anymore, just two people sitting in the shadow with all the time in the world and a list that would never end.